Hello, everybody. Just be with you in a moment here. Making sure my smudge stick is completely out before getting into the reading. So I'm going to be using this deck, the Inner Child Oracle, which it has some nice descriptions of everything. Look at that. It just flipped open to the Inner Child spread. Shall we try it? The Inner Child spread will help to identify the needs and desires of your inner child. This spread can be used with any deck. So here it says the first card, your inner child's needs or desires. Number 2, what is holding you back from fulfilling these needs. 3, what actions you need to take. And then 4, the outcome. So, interesting. Maybe we'll try it. Maybe we'll try that today. Okay. So, also, I might on occasion comment on political things happening. However, if my political leans don't agree with you, your threats are not welcome here, just FYI, because I've gotten plenty of threats from other people about plenty of other things that aren't politics, and they don't scare me neither. So, y'all in amateur hour can, do you know what I mean? Go over to the politic channels if you need to, do that. Okay, so I'm just saying because I'm a firm believer in personal responsibility and personal accountability. Okay, so you know, right or wrong, if you're in the wrong place at the right time, bad things can happen. That's exactly the definition of FAFO. A few years ago, it was that, remember Kyle Rittenhouse, how his mother drove him up to the riots and they thought that was going to be a great idea. Well, look what happened. Yeah, it ended up working out for him in the end, but he had to go through some trials and some tribulations. And the whole world knows his name and what he was up to. You know what I mean? You know, life is not a video game, and don't let somebody else be in charge of that video game. Okay. Such in his case, his mother was the one encouraging. The recent thing in the news, it was the partner that was encouraging certain things. And they're going to have to live with that for the rest of their lives. And they're going to have to ask themselves, was being right and proving a point worth it? Because at the end of the day, I doubt they'd be telling their kids to go stand in front of somebody that has a loaded weapon if they were not also armed and prepared for battle. You know. Kind of reminds me of that story, actually, though. It's a World War II story, I believe. The guy, he didn't believe in violence, but the military would not let him go. And he ended up, like, saving a whole bunch of his troop members by, like, carrying them and stuff when they were injured. And he did it all without a rifle. He was also a trained military personnel. All right, let's get this inner child spread going on today. So again, the first card being here, your inner child's needs or desires, okay? Connect to eternity within. Yes, very nice. Let yourself be held by love. Yeah. We know that life is not a perfect little bubble, and we try and create these perfect little bubbles, right? But really, within our spirit, within our soul, that is always whole. Okay. It just kind of depends on how you see yourself with the rest of the universe and the world, right? So sometimes, this might be leading into the next card. Sometimes there's a lot of distractions around that, right? Connecting with that. Okay, so this may be a reminder, especially in wintertime. We just had the winter solstice, so the days will start to get longer, but while you have this time, use that to connect. Okay, so the second card, what is holding you back from fulfilling these needs here of the inner child, connecting to that eternity within. Okay, this is saying what is holding you back. Breathe in. Practice breath work today. Okay, so again, maybe just doing those simple things, exercising, doing a little meditation, not getting so caught up in your day and what it requires from you, right? Not saying, oh, this is where I like the spiritual bypassing stuff. I just can't get into that. Okay. That's why I curse over here on this channel, because I live in the real world. Because yeah, there is that imaginary bubble. Sure. Okay, but sometimes, yeah, when we're having heated conversations, okay, breathe. Okay, there's strategies for these things. Okay, so practicing breath work may be necessary, especially if you are just trying to get through your work day, right? Or whatnot. Like maybe you're not trying to be, have some big argument with somebody about something. I remember going into a bar once and some political news had come out, and I sat down and I was just like, I don't know. I was just not on that topic. And the bartender's like, well, it affects 50% of the population, as if I'm not that 50%. And it's like, I didn't know it was a requirement for me to give my fucking essay, all right, before getting a fucking cocktail or a beer at this fucking dive ass bar. Some people just want to shut up and enjoy themselves for a change. Okay. And the thing, too, is that this person should have already known that about me or whatever, but it's like, okay, well, if you want to soak in the drama of that and to get more tips or something, you can do that. I'm not going to be your participant. I'm not going to be your little sideline person like some of these situations that you've seen in the news. Because I think about this, I say, well, if that kid's mother hadn't driven him to that riot to patrol, would he have ever gotten into any of that trouble? If that lady's partner wasn't outside the vehicle, if they hadn't decided in the first place to even go investigate things, anyway, might there have been a different result that day? This is why you go vote. Yeah, you can assemble, you can protest, you can stick your neck and nose into a lot of things, but it also comes with risk. That's why we're considered a civilized nation in a democracy, because people can go vote and realize that there's people that voted that see no issues with some of these situations. So until your vote counts and you can sway the other way, right? But how are you going to accomplish that? By throwing yourself into the flames? There's one thing about pointing out the flames. There's another thing when you're throwing barrels of oil onto the flames. We call it exacerbating. And now there's two kids that have to learn to grow up differently. because somebody had to be right that day. Somebody had to be right. You know, the dentist and his wife. So they're accused. The ex-husband of her first husband, has been arrested for the crime. They were only married like 2 years. Okay, so this wasn't like she just got divorced from him 6 months ago, and like he flew off the handle. No, this has been over for close to a decade, and he decided to enact revenge. Well, he's not supposed to. Okay, well, he's not supposed to do that, but he fucking did. This is the point. Sometimes, and I'm not blaming that couple at all. I'm just saying sometimes there are risks involved. Why do you think Dateline NBC and 48 Hours and another 48 Hours and why those shows are so popular? Because this stuff actually happens. And no, you cannot live your life in a bubble, but you can breathe. Think about, do you want to escalate the situation or you want to de-escalate the situation? What is the objective? I feel like when they turned down that road, whatever, that day, I don't think they were thinking very much at all. I think that was an emotional reaction to what they saw. And they say a lot of times, don't make serious decisions in the midst of emotion, or grief, or things of that nature. They say someone, the woman that breaks up with her boyfriend and then she goes and gets a wild haircut, right? Or I just had a fight with my boyfriend. I cut my hair. I need something different. Dye it orange. Okay. So be able to handle the stresses that you're asking of yourself. When that woman's partner instructed her other partner to start driving, did she even think about the implications of that? Here's the thing, you can think. Ta-da! I know, right? See, a lot of people won't like what I'm saying, but this is how I feel about personal responsibility and accountability. Okay. But, I'm over here paying my own bills, so, God forbid, right? So many people be like, oh, I need the government to take care of me. Oh, I need my family to take care of me. Or, oh, I need a woman to take care of me. I need a man to take care. And that is just like, what? Oh, ye of little faith. Oh, ye of little faith. I worked 18 years in a corporate job. If I was so terrible, why didn't they get rid of me way back when? There's risks involved. For me, it was a calculated risk at that point. And I found it very interesting that they did not even call my next of kin to see where I was at. It's just like, bloop, I just fell off the face of the earth, and nobody bothered to reach out to my emergency contact. And I know this because I spoke to my emergency contact afterwards. You know how they're like, oh, no call, no show, blah, blah, blah. Okay. But, yeah, HR never contacted my emergency contact to find out what had happened to me. Nothing. Well, they can't do, well, they did. Now, you can chase justice on that for a very long time. But if you're up against a corporation, Fortune 100, 500, Fortune 1000 companies, they got lawyers. Okay? And they got unlimited funds. These people are on the payroll, man. They don't give a fuck. They're worried about the food on their table, not on your table. No, they're not. So make sure you're aligned with the people you're hanging around. Okay. There was Dr. Phil talks about this in his Life Strategies book in the very first chapter. He goes over it. But I just saw, it was like, I think it was on YouTube, but it was from somebody's TikTok where it was a grandmother. She happened to be coming up on her local, like CVS Walgreens type place. Okay. And she recognized one of the kids in there that was with a group of other people stealing. So she, was like, excuse me, yeah. Because they don't really even try and prosecute people for shoplifting anymore. It's crazy. I mean, you can go into a store these days and you can see, I've never worked retail like that specifically to have all of the training and stuff. But like I can easily see it just when I walk in and I'm like, yeah. Well, first off, the dude that's standing in the makeup aisle that don't look like he wears makeup. It's like, is he really inspecting that mascara over there? Or is he just waiting for the cashier to be turned so he can walk out the front door with other shit in his pants? You think some clerk sitting behind, they're barely making their $15 an hour is going to throw their body on the line? They could end up getting killed doing that shit. They could end up shot. They could end up seriously injured. So think about when you're inserting yourselves into situations that you're not trained for, right? Until that time happens, you might need to breathe a little bit. And await further instruction, right? Okay, so practicing breath work to work on today. Okay. What actions to take to help overcome the obstacles? Okay. Yeah. Unfortunately, my food's in the oven right now, but I was gonna have spinach in it, but unfortunately I left my spinach overnight in the microwave. I probably could have gotten away with using it, but I thought, oh, it's been left out so long overnight. I'm like, I'm gonna throw it away. I hated doing it too, because I worked hard on cooking that spinach. Pull yourself close. I thought, well, that'd be a nice vegetable to go in the quiche, We had some 99-cent eggs on sale at one of our supermarket chains here. Every part of your being is deserving of love. So if you need to take some actions to overcome these obstacles, remind yourself that you're deserving of love. Because you didn't want to come in and give a 2-minute diatribe on the latest political something at your local watering hole, that means you're not deserving of love? No. It's like, I ain't being paid to be here, so go hire a comedian or something. Funny like a clown? Crusty. Sorry, the dishwasher is going in the background. I've been doing a lot of cooking the last few days, so sometimes it's good to try and prep in bulk. So reminding yourself that you're deserving of love, pulling yourself closer into those situations versus fueling the fire, right? There's creating the peacefulness, creating the happy bubble, and then there's, don't show up without a fire hose and instead show up with gasoline and think people are going to start applauding you. That doesn't happen. No. You know, once you recognize in your brain what's going on, it's like, okay, well, what would you do in that situation? I'm staying the F out of the way because I want to live to see another day. People be like, well, what if your house is on fire? Well, I guess I'd have to call the fire department. I mean, they got video games out here for everything. Don't they have video games for showing you how to not get, not get into chaotic uh, situations? They got something for that? And there's people that want to criticize so and so because they're doing too many TikTok dances or posting too many reels to their Instagram. Like, go fuck yourself. Who gives a fuck? Christ. People get so upset over the dumbest shit. You know what I mean? It's like, what are you doing with your lives? All right, number 4, the outcome of having these needs and desires met. Okay. So, yeah, part of loving yourself, pulling yourself close is like, yeah, I understand the principle, but you ain't gonna find me out there doing that shit. Just like I believe some of these fancy, Hollywood types or whatever, they have a right to a trial. But don't expect me to wipe my brain clear of all the evidence and all the morals if you were to call me on that jury, because I doubt you'd want to be picking me because I'd already said the bastard's guilty. I mean, really what they should investigate on that partner and make sure she didn't set her partner up to get a payout. I mean, in my state, there was, how they call it suicide by cop, and then the family sues. And the latest one, that was $10 million. I mean, I watch Dateline. These people are willing to knock somebody over for $100,000. And it's like, y'all must not have house payments because $100,000 don't get you very far these days, does it? No, it does not. If you're supporting a family of 4, if you have a mortgage, if you have a car payment, yeah, that money's gonna get spent, isn't it? Isn't it? Yeah, some just need to get a hobby. That's what I mean, and that's about creating the positive area instead of letting the negative take over. And like, well, what would he? Oh my God! This one place I used to work, it used to drive me crazy. One of my coworkers, would you rather be covered in fish scales or, whatever, or be the color green? It's like, I don't have time for this, whatever that is. I mean, maybe it's a brainstorming exercise for some people, but, it's like, well, neither. And I don't want to play, so I'm good. I am who I am. I don't need to pretend that I'm something else right now. Maybe that's something you should look into and go do. Whatever. I mean, this was back in the early 2000s, and I mean, this gal's, she was wearing $300, $400, $500 shoes. So, me being a recent college graduate with loans to repay, working some, $10 an hour job, I didn't quite relate. I'm like, $500, that's my rent payment. And that's what it was back then, like $500. Now, I mean, that was an apartment all to myself with a separate bedroom, full living room, and I was on the top floor It was only like 3 stories. It was a big complex. And I was on the top floor. So it was great in the wintertime. Like all that heat rose up. I barely, my electric bill was so low. Facts, and even better when there's no drama. Right. Right. It's like, are we trying to look for drama, or are we trying to create good drama? Right? I saw something on one of my social medias that I get on, and it was like talking about, and this was, I think, from a female point of view, a woman posting, but for men too, I think this should apply. And it says, we've been conditioned to want to, you know if it's a love story, or if it's a romance, oh well, that's girl stuff, that's dumb, right? But if it's blowing up this and killing that, like, yeah, yeah, like we're, sometimes more encouraged to do that. Like, I mean, is this leftover Roman Empire residuals here? I mean, feed them to the lions. Yes, more death on TV. Yeah. We get to pick and choose, right? That's why I don't say a lot of certain things on this channel sometimes, because I'm not trying to go down that path. And sometimes going down that path, I'm just telling you, it don't get you nowhere. Just like some of these folks that we've seen in the news, it causes them trouble. Does not get you what that you want. I mean, this guy who offed his ex-wife and her new husband, this man was a surgeon. So now there's a whole bunch of patients that won't be treated by him, because he's going to go to jail for the rest of his life. I mean, come on. And then the dentist isn't going to be able to, like, what? Like, what was the point of all that? What is the point? It's like, these people must not be believers in nothing, because what does he think happens after that? Find your haven. There is a place of wonder waiting just for you. Yeah. Is the world a perfect place? Most certainly not, but we can make it more perfect by the day. Yes, and we try to do that. Oh yes, that last comment. That is, I almost commented that this morning on the case of the dentist that was murdered with his wife. Because it's like, just walk away. Just go. Do something else. Right? I've been divorced since 2017. It's like, this was a long time ago, pal. You know? The comment in here, because I don't know if the comments replay for you guys. It says, why can't they just not go away happy and blessed and leave the honest and loyal ones alone? Why the fight when they got what they wanted? Where's the love at? Right. So remembering this card that we had here, remembering that you're deserving of love. Okay. So it could be real easy to get upset because somebody's like, oh, well, what do you think of this? And what do you think of that? What do you think of this? What do you think of that? What do you think of this? What do you think of that? Yeah, take a breath. Take a breath. The people go around saying, if I had a nickel every time somebody asked me that, start thinking about that. Your opinion so much. Maybe you need to start charging admission. You need to start a podcast. Maybe you need to start your own YouTube channel. Okay. So pulling yourself close, standing, okay, not wavering. See, these arches, see these folks here? These arches are going to be here long after these folks are, aren't they? Right? The house that I'm in now that I own will be here long after I'm dead and gone. Some other family living here. Okay. Life progresses and moves on whether we want it to or not, right? So again, not getting so stuck in emotion, right? You ever hear that Lisa song? Lost in emotion. Ba-na, 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 ba-na. All right. So connecting to yourself, especially as you do watch the news, and I understand it is hard to tear away, but you might have to limit some of that. People be like, oh, they're addicted to alcohol. Oh, they're addicted to smoking. Oh, well, some of you are addicted to fucking chaos on the news. Some of you are addicted to chaos on Facebook. Some of you are, okay? So it's still early in 2026. Okay? We're only in the second week of it, but I'm just saying. There's still time. There's still time to stop and say, is this worthy of my attention for my priorities? Or is this, and here's the thing too, or is this some old family feud, okay, that's going to be there forever and ever and ever? I realized that when I was in one of the bands I was in, because I was in a band with brothers. Yeah, a band of brothers. Anyway, and they started hollering at each other one day during practice, and I said, I wasn't really, because I've been around these two before, because I was dating one of them. And the guitar player looked at me, he's like, he's looking at me all stressed and stuff. I looked at him, I said, some of this has nothing to do with anything that's going on here. This is stuff from a long time ago. Okay? It's called ancient fucking history. And if you can't learn from it, then you're going to be in trouble, aren't you? Then it is FAFO season. And it's not going to turn out how you want. Versus being pleasantly surprised at an outcome. It's like I cannot get inside them folks' head when they decided to make that action towards all the commotion. It's like, what did you really expect to happen? Thought you were just going to sail on through? Sail on through, and now we made our point. Now we're going to be viral on the... Well, you got your wish about being viral on the fucking internet. And now one of your crew is gone. To me, that's not worth celebrating. At all. So yeah, finding your haven. There are a lot of people that don't want to engage in that way, that actually believe in peace, that believe in, the power of the vote, okay? The power of peaceful protest. I mean, and it's going on again in the state of Minneapolis where it did before during the Floyd the Floyd incident, and then that became like, what? Like they're firebombing the police station? It's like, okay, I don't agree what happened to that man, but I also don't agree with firebombing the police station. So when you get out there, and I understand, especially as young people, you feel very impassioned and you want to make an impact, make sure you understand the best way for your voice to be heard. make sure you're registered. Go to your local county and make sure you're registered to be an election judge. You get paid to do it. You ever go vote and you see all them empty spots nobody's running against? Well, there you go. Go make your voice heard. Ensure that it happens. I mean, me personally, I don't want to go joyriding in the middle of Bullet Central. That sounds incredibly stupid. I mean, when I worked with folks, when I worked in the office, there were some folks that told me they're like, I don't drive through that part of town without my peace nearby. And me, little, white lady that didn't grow up here, right? I'm like, what? I've driven through, and I'm like, I've driven through there the day before, no problem. And he's like, and this was a man who was not white telling me this, okay? Is that racist or is that being practical? That's being prepared. Huh? I listened to what that man said. Okay? So the next time I decide to be a little Scarlett O'Hara going through Shantytown, recognize there ain't a big sand, haul your ass out of the fucking ditch wherever you go. All right. Say yes. It says now is the time to be open and receive. Okay. So just as you're standing, being accountable, trying to do the right thing, okay? Say yes and understand that's recognized. Okay. Well, somebody says, oh great, so no safe place is awesome, just awesome. Like we can try and create the safest place possible. I mean, I've had interactions with the law as well. They've come into my home because somebody called. Anyway. And, I had to be like this in my own house. Hands up, don't shoot. Hands up, don't shoot, That is the world that we live in. I like to think as a believer, right? After this human existence is gone that I'm participating in, that, yeah, I won't have that. And I will be safe, with the Creator. That's my world and religious view there. Okay. So, yeah. Anyway, I think that's about as far as I'm going today. So that is this inner child spread using the inner child deck. Okay, so again, the first one was your inner child's needs or desires, and that is connecting to eternity within. What is holding you back from fulfilling these needs? It says breathe in, practicing breath work. Okay, so meditation might be something to add to your daily routine. Actions to take and help overcome obstacles holding you back. Yes, that being pulling closer into yourself and knowing you are deserving of love. Not just if you agree with this and if you agree with that and what do you think about this and so posted that and I don't give a fuck. I haven't talked to that person in years, and why would I? Anyway. So, Again, I don't care about if they have chaos right now. I don't. They might have been delighting in my chaos at one time, but I don't care about their chaos. No, I don't. So again, pulling yourself close. And then in the outcome for having these needs and desires met, saying, find your haven. There's a place of wonder waiting just for you. Okay. It doesn't mean don't leave your house. It doesn't mean, you know, be smart about stuff. You know? I mean, you know, there's folks I've reached out to before because I saw it's like, there's like a hurricane hit. I was like, what? Oh, we're fine. I'm like, okay. You know, there's a hurricane coming towards you. Anyway. No wonder the insurance premiums are so high, right? It's that same FAFO. You okay? You think it's fun to live here? Well, let's see if you can pay for it, right? Because you might have to rebuild your house, or you might lose it in one of these forest fires, right? Like I have out west all the time, all these wildfires. I mean, these houses go for $850 million just for shit that some of the rest of us are like, really? And that ain't even new construction, man. So you know, once the fire hits it, it'll go up faster. That's a lot of money. Anyway. Alright guys, please do like the video, especially if you've been in the chat today. Thank you for the kind comments in the chat today. Pat yourselves on the back. Okay. So as we progress through January, you know, remember this might be your recalibration time and say in 2026, I mean, do I need to be following the same pattern in 2026? Okay. Yeah. Do not deny your importance. Okay. So even if it's like taking time out to watch a video like this, maybe you do a little exercise routine, maybe you take a little walk around the block, right? For me personally, one of the ways that I started kind of breaking free from the monotony, especially was at lunchtime. I stopped kind of like socializing with my coworkers because we were together for, you know, sometimes 10, 12 hours a day. And it's like, I don't need to eat my lunch with these people too, you know? And so getting away from them, getting away from the environment, clearing your head for a little while. All right. Reminding yourself of what you have to do, not what so-and-so's problem is and so-and-so's problem is and so-and-so and so-and-so. And well, you're smart. Let me run it by you and blah, blah. And you're there. And it's like, well, and it's not, right. We all know how it goes. And then all of a sudden your whole morning's gone. You're like, crap. Like, was that in my goal plan? So, you know, don't make a goal plan, you know, worried about failing. Make a goal plan so that you have somehow to refocus. All right. You know, maybe it's this year we're budgeting for a new HVAC system. You know what I mean? And maybe you hit, you know, June, July, and it's like, oh, we're going to go on vacation, blah, blah. And you go back to your goal plan and you're like, okay, well, we could do that, but that would put us behind on such and such. So if we want to install that new system, maybe, right? maybe we can go here instead of doing that, or whatever it is. Because, counting on winning the lottery and shit and getting payouts from lawsuits is not the way to be done. It's not the way. And trust me, those insurance companies and everybody else has 10 times as many lawyers than you will ever meet in your lifetime. Okay. So, the system is there, but remember that system exists and those people are all feeding themselves too. All right. So their interest isn't necessarily to help you so that they stop getting fed. Speaking of getting fed, I am going to take my little quiche I made out of the oven with my failed spinach edition that I lamented earlier. So irritating. Anyway, I mean, I was searching that refrigerator and I'm like, where did the spinach go? And I thought, oh, I bet I put it in the microwave to cool up. And thing is, too, especially with the dogs, instead of leaving food on the counter, I kind of like to do that so it's up out of the way so they can't get to it. And sure enough, because I didn't want to put it in the fridge when it was still like hot, but it's spinach, it would have cooled off pretty. It actually kind of felt almost warm in there, like it kind of retained some heat overnight. Anyway, that's why I was like, oh, I better just throw this out. Anyway, it'll add to the composting in the landfill, right? Our food waste. So that sometimes happens, right? Then we move on. So maybe I'll try growing some spinach this year. I grew some lettuce last year, but it was from a mixed lettuce seed packet. So I got some crazy like mustard greens too, which if you're not careful, like those things are very, because of the odor of like mustard and stuff, can be a little overwhelming for some folks. And the leaves are very itchy. So anyway, almost like walking on a trail. Can't believe these puppies are just snapping away. I thought they'd be more rambunctious today because it's supposed to hit like 50 degrees. So the sun's not really out, but it's supposed to hit like 50 degrees today for winter. So, for us here, that's you're doing pretty good. All right. We will talk to you in the next one. Until next time, please do manifest wisely. Bye bye.